Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're unpacking a literally game-changing approach to how we view ourselves, our daily struggles, and our future. We're looking at the insights of Dr. Daniel Amen, a pioneering psychiatrist and brain health expert. The big paradigm-shifting idea we're exploring is that mental health is actually brain health. It's a hard, physical, biological reality. And the absolute best part? You are not stuck with the brain you have. You can actually make it better. Here's our roadmap for today. We'll be hitting the brain health crisis, looking inside the brain, rethinking ADHD and trauma, the Bright Minds framework, raising mentally strong kids, and wrapping up with daily habits for a better brain. Let's get right into it. Part 1, the brain health crisis, a looming epidemic. Think about this for a second. It's a pretty terrifying statistic. If you're lucky enough to live to 85 years old, you have a 1 in 2 chance of being diagnosed with dementia. 1 in 2. Meaning if it doesn't hit you, it's very likely going to hit your partner. We absolutely cannot afford to just ignore this. And the sheer scale here, it's staggering. Right now, we're looking at about 55 million global Alzheimer's cases. But fast forward to 2050, and that projection shoots up to an incredible 139 million cases. It's an absolute epidemic, and it's heavily driven by our incredibly unhealthy modern lifestyles. Very few families are going to be left untouched by this, but, it's not all doom and gloom. There's real hope. Which brings us to our next point. Part 2, looking inside the brain, the missing piece. So here's where we see a massive difference between traditional psychiatry and a truly biological approach. For decades, traditional psychiatry has basically been guessing, diagnosing blindly based purely on clusters of symptoms. I mean, imagine a cardiologist diagnosing heart disease just because you said your chest hurt, without ever actually doing an EKG. Dr. Amen champions flipping this on its head by using SPECT brain scans, which actually look at blood flow and physical activity inside the brain. It completely shifts the narrative from blind guessing to looking at hard physical data. Just let this quote sink in for a moment. Psychiatrists are the only medical doctors who virtually never look at the organ they treat. Crazy, right? It totally shatters that outdated way of thinking. If our brain's moment-by-moment functioning is what creates our mind, how in the world can we possibly treat mental health without looking at the physical organ? By actually looking at the brain, we can finally stop throwing pills at symptoms and start fixing the underlying biology. And here is that profound hope I promised you. It's called neuroplasticity. Your brain is not set in stone. Deep inside your head is the hippocampus, which, fun fact, actually means seahorse in Greek because of its shape. Every single day, your brain creates about 700 new stem cells, right there. Think of them as 700 little baby seahorses. Now, your daily habits, your behaviors, the choices you make, they are either feeding and growing those seahorses or they're starving them. You literally have the power to structurally rewire your own brain. Part 3, rethinking ADHD and trauma through a biological lens. When it comes to ADHD, we really need to stop viewing it as a character flaw or laziness. It's pure biology. Take a look at these 5 hallmark symptoms. Notice how the short attention span is specifically for routine tasks. People with ADHD can often focus intensely on highly stimulating novel things because that triggers an intrinsic dopamine hit. But when they try to focus on boring chores, brain scans actually show their prefrontal cortex dropping in activity. It's a literal biological under-stimulation, not a lack of willpower. Think of it this way. Having ADHD is exactly like needing glasses. If your eyeballs are shaped funny, you wear glasses to help them focus. You aren't dumb or crazy. It's the exact same thing with your brain. Your frontal lobes just sort of turn off when they are supposed to be turning on. By treating it biologically, whether that's with exercise, targeted supplements, or medication, you're just giving your brain the glasses it needs to engage. It takes all the shame right out of the equation. And what's even more fascinating is that brain scans prove ADHD isn't just one uniform thing. There are actually 7 distinct types. For example, there's overfocused ADHD, where someone gets totally stuck on a loop of negative thoughts, or the ring of fire type, where the whole brain is basically overactive, often from inflammation. Since the underlying biology is totally different for each type, a one-size-fits-all treatment, it's just never going to work. You absolutely have to know what kind of brain you're working with. Part 4, the Bright Minds framework and its 11 risk factors. Okay, before we get into the specifics, you need to develop this core concept,
brain envy. Think about it. We obsess over the wrinkles on our face or the fat on our waistline because we see them every day in the mirror. But nobody cares about their brain because it's totally hidden. To genuinely change your life, you need to actively love, respect, and care for your brain. You have to cultivate an obsession, real brain envy, with making your physical brain look and work better today than it did yesterday.
To build that better brain, Dr. Amen uses the acronym Bright Minds to track 11 major risk factors. Let's hit a few crucial ones here. Take blood flow. Low blood flow is actually the #1 brain imaging predictor of Alzheimer's. Want to boost it? Play coordination sports like table tennis. It lights up your cerebellum and wakes up the whole brain. Or how about inflammation? Get this. Rigorously flossing your gums reduces brain inflammation. Yeah, gum disease is directly linked to brain disease. By managing these things, knowing your genetics, tracking your vitamin D for immunity, you are putting up a serious biological shield. Now, we have to touch on a pretty uncomfortable truth regarding weight, which Dr. Amen calls the biggest brain drain in history. The reality is, as your body weight goes up, the physical size and function of your brain objectively goes down. If you're overweight, you're looking at a 4% drop in brain volume, and their brain effectively looks 8 years older. If you're obese, it's an 8% drop and it looks 16 years older. It is tough to hear, for sure, but carrying excess weight literally shrinks the physical brain. Part 5. Raising mentally strong kids and navigating the modern world. Parenting right now is incredibly tough, especially with the massive spike in teen depression and anxiety. Dr. Amen proposes a pretty radical shift in perspective here. He asks parents to think, what would an evil ruler do if they wanted to intentionally create mental illness? Well, they'd engineer social media algorithms designed to pump out dopamine and addict young minds. They'd create vaping companies that market literal poison as some trendy, healthy alternative. To get through to teenagers, the sources suggest framing these industries as evil rulers, getting kids genuinely mad at the corporations that are quite literally trying to hijack their brains for profit. Inside the home, though, the real shift is in your parenting style. It is so easy to fall into permissive parenting because we love our kids and we want to rescue them. But over-rescuing raises incredibly fragile adults. When you jump in and solve all their problems, you're actually stealing their self-esteem. The alternative? A firm and kind approach. Set those strict boundaries, hold a line, and, this is the hard part, let your kids fail. Let them deal with the natural consequences of a forgotten lunch or missed homework. That struggle is exactly how they build genuine competence and a resilient brain. Let's put this into practice with 3 quick principles. Number 1, give them 20 minutes a day of pure, child-led play. No commands, no questions. This builds an incredibly strong attachment bond. Number 2, remember that a human's prefrontal cortex doesn't finish fully insulating its wiring until age 25. So you basically have to act as their frontal lobe and supervise them until then. And number 3, use the penguin strategy. Good coaches focus on what you're doing right. Reward and pay attention to the positive behavior you want to see, rather than only reacting when they mess up. Part 6. Habits for a better brain, your daily routine. The thing about your brain is it's naturally kind of lazy. It'll just run whatever program you give it. So you have to train it. Step 1. The second your feet hit the floor in the morning, declare out loud, today is going to be a great day. This forces your brain to actively scan the horizon for positive things. Step 2. Before you eat, drink, or do basically anything, ask yourself the mother of all habits. Is this good for my brain or bad for it? And step 3, before you go to sleep, replay your day and pick out the micro moments that went well. You're literally rewiring your neural pathways for happiness as you drift off. Now, here's a slightly weird but totally genius trick to create psychological distance from your thoughts. Give your mind a name. Seriously, Dr. Amen named his mind after a chaotic pet raccoon he had growing up. Why? Because raccoons are little troublemakers. They dig through the trash, they make a huge mess. And your mind does the exact same thing, constantly tossing disruptive, negative thoughts at you all day. By naming it, you create this crucial psychological distance. You separate who you actually are from the random noise your brain spits out. It gives you the space to just observe a thought without impulsively reacting to it. Which brings us to the final and really the most empowering takeaway of this entire explainer. You are not stuck with the brain you have. You can make it better. It doesn't matter if you're dealing with past trauma, years of bad habits, or cognitive decline. That neuroplasticity we talked about, it's sitting there waiting for you to activate it. The biology proves that physical healing is absolutely possible. So the only question left to ask yourself is, are you finally ready to develop some brain envy and start building a better mind today?